Hi, I'm Rachel, and welcome to Do You Mindful. So this week, I'm going to be talking about the attitudinal factors for mindfulness. These 7 factors are ways in which you can reevaluate your mindset and transform your mindset. So the first is non-judging. So according to the Buddha, we create suffering for ourselves when we crave things and when we crave things to be not what they are. When we have these attachments to a specific circumstance, we are very put off when things don't work out the way we want them to. So when we release our attachment to these circumstances, then we're much freer to experience the world and be flexible when things don't work out as planned. The next attitude is patience. Obviously, you all are familiar with the definition of patience, but in this setting, patience really refers to letting things unfold as they are supposed to. With mindfulness practice, it makes sense that people try to practice and they don't think they're good at it, or it's really difficult for them, and so they are discouraged from trying it again. But when you are patient with yourself and you understand that it takes time to get used to this practice, and giving yourself a second and giving yourself the time you need to acclimate is really important and will go a long way for allowing you to begin practicing and to flourish in your practice. So the next attitude is beginner's mind, and this really refers to letting go of your assumptions about the way things are or the way things are going to be. So I'm sure a lot of you have mixed feelings about mindfulness and meditation and maybe know others who have mixed opinions on it, and that's totally valid. But when you begin your own practice, it's important that you let go of these assumptions and maintain an open mind to what you're going to learn. So the next factor is trust. And I know this might sound simple, but a lot of us are conditioned not to trust ourselves. We have these self-doubts and judgments that we place upon ourselves, and we don't always necessarily trust our intuition. But meditation is the practice of bringing your intuition to the forefront. And so your voice and your feelings and your thoughts become so much more apparent, and you witness them in their most authentic form. And so this is really the time where you can learn to foster that trust and to let yourself build a better understanding of who you are and learn to trust yourself and who that person is. The next factor is non-striving. And this one's really, really difficult for a lot of people. It's really difficult for me too. And so non-striving really refers to practicing without an end result in mind. I think in Western culture, we really are conditioned to be go-getters, and we are pressured from the beginning to have these really high goals and to achieve them and to be successful people in whatever endeavors that we have, which is great. And a lot of people have been very successful. But in meditation and mindfulness, it's encouraged that you observe the present moment and that you stay in this moment rather than fixating on the future moments and what can be gained. Striving means that you are not content with where you are now. And mindfulness is about coming to terms with where you are now. And if you're striving to be somewhere else, then it's really impossible to do that. And I know that a lot of you are probably interested in mindfulness because you have mental illness, or because you are really stressed out, or have other things that you want to remedy, which meditation can do. But when you are fixated on the end result, then you really aren't experiencing the practice for what it is. And so it's important to be in the moment when you are practicing rather than in the future. And that brings me to the next one, which is acceptance. And really all that means is acknowledging the way things are right now. And it sounds simple, but I've personally had trouble with this in the past, because when we have certain thoughts in our minds, we don't necessarily want them to be there, or when we have a certain mindset or outlook, we don't necessarily want it to be there. And it's hard to really come to terms with what is. And so accepting this is really saying that, okay, this thought or this feeling is here and I'm okay with it. And so that's really all acceptance is. And It's simply explained, but not so simply attained. So if you catch yourself repressing thoughts or repressing feelings, maybe take a second look and see whether or not you can accept that for what it is. Finally, the last attitude I'm going to talk about is letting go. And it is perfectly natural for us as humans to hold on to our experiences and to ruminate on our experiences too. And it's important that we embrace the nature of change in our lives and let ourselves let these instances go when it's time to let them go. And I know that it's difficult to let things go all the time, and you shouldn't force yourself to let things go if you're not ready to, but sometimes you're holding on to something for longer than it's serving you. And if you have something that you've been thinking about for so long that's been bugging you and eating at you, and you take a step back and realize that maybe you just don't need this thought or feeling in your life, then perhaps it could serve you to let it go. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. Those were the 7 attitudinal factors for mindfulness. Hopefully you will understand what these mean within yourself and be able to work on them. So that's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you. See ya.